Every empire promises safety, every government swears that its money will last forever. And every empire, every government, eventually proves itself wrong. Rome, France, the Confederacy, Weimar Germany, modern Lebanon all teach the same brutal lesson. Trust is fragile, paper is ephemeral, and the illusion of permanence is the deadliest mistake you can make. Saving money once meant security. Today, it is often the fastest path to invisible loss. You may work, cut back, defer pleasure, and watch numbers grow in a bank account, yet every year, silently, your future shrinks. This is not a conspiracy, it is design. The modern financial system rewards movement, not stillness, circulation, not accumulation. It punishes patience disguised as prudence. In ancient Rome, silver denarii were debased repeatedly. Each emperor who shaved coins, mixed them with cheaper metals, or overissued currency quietly stole value from savers. People believed they were earning security. Instead, they were losing it, day by day. Byzantium learned the same lesson centuries later with gold solidi. At first, merchants trusted them. The coins had purity, credibility, and reach. But slowly, as governments diluted their gold, trust cracked. Wealth migrated to those who held tangible value outside official reach. Saving worked only for the observant, the skeptical, the ones who foresaw the cracks before they spread. The Black Death demonstrates another truth. Between 1347 and 1351, half of Europe perished. Cities emptied, villages disappeared, trade broke down, wages soared because labor became scarce. Land, food, and productive capacity suddenly gained leverage. Those who held liquidity could acquire real assets cheaply. The lesson is stark: the value of cash changes with context. What you save is vulnerable to shifts far beyond your control. Money that sits, waiting patiently, loses relevance as society reshapes itself. The cautious suffer while the adaptive thrive. Renaissance Florence teaches yet another cautionary tale. Powerful banking families lent heavily to monarchs, most famously Edward III of England. When default struck, banks collapsed, deposits vanished, trade froze. Ordinary citizens discovered that institutions that appear invincible can fail overnight. Saving money in the safety of a bank is not neutral. Your wealth can evaporate while the system's architects profit or escape. Trust in size, reputation, or prestige is no protection. The American Civil War shows that even domestic turmoil can annihilate savings. In the Confederacy, hyperinflation rendered salaries worthless, forcing families to carry bundles of graybacks just to buy bread. In the Union, greenbacks lost value incrementally, eroding purchasing power even as the nation survived. The lesson is that in times of crisis, the currency of your labor and prudence can be stolen before your eyes. Paper promises mean nothing when trust breaks. Hard goods, land, skills, and liquidity hold the real value. Those who see this early survive, those who save blindly perish. Revolutionary France repeats this pattern. As monarchy fell, the government issued assignats backed by confiscated property, printing endlessly. Prices skyrocketed. Bread became unattainable for ordinary citizens. The winners were those who held tangible goods, land, and assets outside government reach. Saving money had become an act of vulnerability, not virtue. The system did not punish indiscretion, it punished stillness. Cash in the bank was no longer a shield, it was bait. Modern examples mirror the past with eerie precision. The 1997 Asian financial crisis destroyed local currency value in Thailand, Indonesia, South Korea, and Malaysia. Ordinary savers lost their purchasing power. Foreign creditors and hedge funds profited from the collapse. Lebanon between 2019 and 2021 froze deposits, crushed the currency, and left middle-class families destitute. In every scenario, the pattern is consistent. Those who rely on static money suffer. Those who diversify, hold real assets, and maintain liquidity endure. Saving works only when the system honors stability, and today it does not. The mechanics are simple. Governments and banks create money constantly. Loans, stimulus, quantitative easing, deficit spending all inject new currency into circulation. The velocity of money accelerates, the supply expands, and inflation erodes purchasing power. The longer your cash sits idle, the more it loses relative to assets, debt obligations, and those positioned to benefit from systemic flow. Negative real interest rates mean that your savings earn less than the rate of hidden, systemic loss. The system punishes accumulation. It rewards adaptation. This is why the modern saver feels frustrated despite discipline. You cannot outwork a system designed to devalue patience. Discipline alone is insufficient. You may cut expenses, defer luxury, live frugally, and still fall behind. Saving is no longer a hedge, it is exposure. Exposure to policies, inflation, mismanagement, and the systemic advantage of those who act first. Your patience enriches others who leverage flow, risk, and insight. Static behavior becomes a liability. Stillness is taxed by invisible forces more powerful than any visible cost. The solution is not abandoning prudence, but rethinking its form. Protection comes from recognizing the real stores of value, assets that cannot be printed away, skills that generate tangible output, and liquidity that allows opportunistic positioning. Diversification, geographical, asset-based, and temporal, is essential. Gold, land, income-producing property, and transferable skills form a hedge against currency failure. Cash alone is a trap, a slow-moving erosion of future freedom. Understanding this pattern separates survival from collapse, freedom from dependency, and agency from victimhood. History teaches that collapses are inevitable. They are cyclical. They occur when money is overissued, trust is stretched, or shocks natural, political, or social unleash systemic stress. Savers who fail to adapt are punished not by error, but by design. The system is not malicious, it is self-sustaining. It operates to preserve liquidity and control, not individual stability. The rules favor motion, leverage, and foresight. Passive accumulation becomes vulnerable to invisible erosion. The paradox is that while collapse destroys some, it rewards others. After the Black Death, peasants became landowners. After 2008, cash-rich investors bought homes at distressed prices. After COVID-19, liquidity allowed acquisition of stocks, property, and businesses at values out of reach to the unprepared. Every crisis, every systemic shock redistributes wealth. Those who save money statically are almost always on the losing end, while those who maintain adaptable, tangible positions benefit. The moral is harsh. Discipline without awareness is vulnerability. Your own behavior is part of the system. Time, labor, and attention are finite. Money, on the other hand, is elastic, manipulable, and often indifferent to personal effort. The longer you tie yourself to inert currency, the more you feed a system that extracts value from stasis. Financial security today is not measured by numbers on a balance sheet, but by resilience, diversity of assets, mobility of resources, and readiness to act when illusions crack. Knowledge of historical patterns is an invisible shield. Awareness is your leverage. Every collapse is both a catastrophe and an opportunity. The unprepared perish, the prepared prosper. This is true across centuries, cultures, and continents. Rome, Byzantium, Florence, France, the United States, Asia, Lebanon. Patterns repeat. Paper erodes, trust fails. Real value survives in forms that cannot be arbitrarily created, frozen, or devalued. Those who understand this do not merely survive, they acquire. They position themselves to gain when others panic, and they preserve what others lose. Saving money became a losing strategy not because patience or frugality is wrong, but because the medium itself, cash, deposits, currency, is no longer neutral. It is a tool wielded by systems, not a shield for individuals. True protection comes from assets immune to systemic devaluation, skills that produce tangible output, and the constant awareness that crises will arrive, again and again. Money in a bank is not treasure, it is trust lent to a system indifferent to your survival. Only those who recognize this, diversify accordingly, and remain agile, survive the inevitable storms. The brutal truth is this: collapse is the rule, not the exception. The system is indifferent to savers. Discipline alone is insufficient. Accumulation in static form is a trap. Wealth, security, and survival belong to those who understand patterns, act preemptively, and leverage motion over stillness. History does not forgive ignorance. Saving money blindly guarantees erosion. Understanding the system, holding real value, and positioning oneself to act when illusions break is the only reliable path to protection. Everything else is a slow surrender to inevitability.